All right, well, we're going to start our lesson on the industrial age, a new industrial age. This is kind of the second industrial revolution. The first one really was dealing with the steam engine and dealing with, the cotton gin, dealing with some pretty important aspects. You got the steamboat, you got really even the train, the railroad that starts to become a part. You got all the factories that happen really starts over in England. But this is really the second industrial age, the second industrial revolution that comes about. And I'm going to basically from here on out, a lot of our lessons with Dr. T is I'm going to go through the slides pretty quickly. You can always see the slides. We're not going to watch the videos that are on the slides, but I would highly encourage you to go back in and open up the slides and watch a video that you might think that is kind of cool or something that's interesting. And it's really a neat a way to just watch a video that might be on that slide. So anyway, we're going to go ahead, and this is Dr. T, Lessons with Dr. T, Industrial Age and Industrial Era. And this is our presentation. So we're going to go ahead and start with this. So the first part of this is what we call the Gilded Age, right? So Mark Twain, hopefully you guys remember Mark Twain. He wrote several different things that you might have heard of, Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer, all that kind of stuff. He also has a really good quote. I love this quote, talking about if you have to eat a frog, go ahead and eat it in the morning. And he's talking about the idea that if you have to do something you don't want to do, go ahead and do it first thing so you can get it out of the way with, so you're not having to worry about it. It's a great quote that you can deal with. But he also wrote a book called The Gilded Age, A Tale of Today, to describe that era of the late 1800s and 1900s, that because of that new technology, everything looked really, really cool on the outside, but on the inside or underneath the surface, it was gilded. It was fake. All right. And if you've ever put on a ring that had an outside appearance of like gold, but it was full gold, and your finger turned green, or your necklace, turned your neck green, that is what we talk about. That is like the Gilded Age. This is a farce, a facade that is a part of this. Now, he comes up with this term. This is a great video about this era and the emergence of this. This video you'll be watching later on this week, and so this is a crash course. Some of you may like crash course, some of you might not. I balanced it out with a couple other videos, but biggest thing was the Industrial Revolution was really about war. War changed everything, and always does. Anytime that you see a war, you're going to see inventions dramatically and drastically increase. And in the Civil War, you've got the idea of canning. You've got all the kinds of medicine that's coming about. You've got the obviously the military weaponry that comes about. So anytime that war happens, you see a really big shift in development and invention. So it challenged industries to produce more goods. A number of factors, including the abundance of natural resources, influx of immigrant labor, increase of entrepreneurs, which are people that are start businesses, pro-business governments and policies. We'll be talking more about those. So natural resources. One of the biggest things is obviously oil, right? And oil was tough to get. We knew how to get it. We knew how to drill down, but we didn't have a economical way of doing this. This is not easy to do until the guy named Edwin Drake came along. He created this Drake oil well, which you can see in the picture there. And this is his basic design is still used today. And it really took that first wave investments of oil drilling, refining, marketing, and it just sparked everything. And it created what we call the captains of industry, sometimes known as robber barons. We'll talk more about them later because that's pretty important. All right, so immigration is a big part of this process right now. You can see obviously in the thing here, this image, that you've got Europe has a lot of immigrants, but you know what? There's quite a few from Asia as well. And of course, a lot of them settle on the West Coast. A lot of the East Coast immigrants are settling over here. And of course, there's a lot of struggles with that. And we'll get into this because immigration is good and bad, right? Immigration, our country is made up of immigrants, but we also have some immigration issues that come about when, you're dealing with, okay, are they a part of our country? Do they want to be a part of the country, or how does that all work? And so it does provide a low-cost workforce in that area. You got new businesses, and so laissez-faire is it's a French term that comes out and basically means limited government. Is we don't want the government to be as involved. Now, there's something to be said for government involved in the business side and aspect because of some of the things that their protections. But the business also, or government also, does restrict business, and they put into place some restrictions on them that are really tough to follow. And so you can really see that even today. Some of the government focus on businesses, and especially with this COVID-19 stuff, and not allowing businesses to open up and not allowing businesses to have full capacity, that kind of stuff. Obviously in safety aspects, but bottom line is when you're a business owner and you can't make money and you can't hire people, it just creates a trickle-down effect, and that's one of the problems that you run into. And one of the things that was positive in this time period was that government didn't get that much involved, although that also created some issues as well, because you got government or businesses taking advantage of the workers. So this is a industrial America around the 1900 in New York. Now there's quite a few technological inventions that come about during this time. One of my favorites is obviously electricity. Now Thomas Edison did not invent electricity. People knew about electricity for thousands of years. They understood that something that came from the sky created some type of electrical spark and all that. But how do you harness the power of electricity? That is what Thomas Edison and some of his other groups that focused on. Now, Thomas Edison wasn't really that nice a guy. He was kind of cutthroat. He would take new inventors and he would bring them under the fold of his company, and then he would steal their invention, or he would reverse engineer their invention and not give them all the credit. So he has a lot of patents to his name, but a lot of those patents are actually inventions that other people invented, but he just kind of stole the patent on it. He was able to get the patent first. He was in a lot of lawsuits and that kind of stuff. One of the most interesting of those was the Westinghouse, and this is where you've got a lot of people. Tesla is involved in this process, and this is the idea of direct current versus AC current, and there was a competition between these two, and that competition actually was involved in like the electric chair, and it was kind of an interesting competition of who could kill a person the most. It was kind of like the whole idea of the people in the medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry don't want their name associated with any medicine that can kill a person, that is used for the death row inmates. And so this kind of same thing, and Thomas Edison was the master of that. This is the Ask History who really invented the light bulb, and yes, Thomas Edison did actually invent the light bulb, but there were several people that claim some of the similar types of ideas. But we use some of the same technology even today that he had. Of course, you've got some major inventions in the personal area. You've got the Thomas Crapper, and yes, that is his name. He was one of the ones that dealt with the indoor toilet, which is obviously why we call that the crapper. And so this is kind of an interesting development, and I think we're all thankful for indoor plumbing, central heating, showers, all that kind of stuff, and of course the toilet we're very, very thankful for. We've got photography and motion picture. This is kind of one of my favorite areas. Of course, you guys know that I'm involved in live stream stuff, and I love the way in which that it has developed through the years. But this is basically film stock that was developed by George Eastman, and he was the Kodak company. Now Kodak has since gone on to maybe market themselves, because obviously with the digital camera and the ability to have that, they've done some other stuff, but they're still actually in business. But you've got the invention of this the history of motion pictures is a great video that I would highly recommend you watch. Same thing with the very first motion picture. It's a lot of fun to watch this first motion picture. It's called The Horse in Motion. kind of a neat way to look at this, and see what the how they got the motion and how they did it, and how film came about. Now, one of the things that we don't actually think about was an invention called the typewriter, and the QWERTY keyboard. Christopher Sholes was one of the main developers of this, and the reason that it's QWERTY is if you look at QWERTY, the top row here, that's why we call it the QWERTY keyboard. And there's been movements to try to maybe change how people are typing, but I'll tell you what, I can't figure that out. If somebody were to try to change that typing on me, I couldn't do it. So this is kind of an interesting development, and one that it actually brings a lot of women into the workforce at the time, that because they were able to learn these skills very quickly, and they were able to be utilized in new business startups, and be able to use these typewriters effectively. Then you got the communication area. Of course, you got Alexander Bell, who is the inventor of the telephone, and enhanced the ability of instant communication. And you've got this instead of the telegraph, which was really used during the Civil War time period, just a little bit before then. But the telephone just absolutely expounded on everything. And last but not least today, this is kind of the bicycles. I know that bicycles have been around, of course, for ages and ages with the wheel, but this is a new idea of the bicycles being utilized to go to work, and to be used as centers of entertainment and enjoyment. And then, of course, phone operators at the beginning, they tried to use males, and they figured out that the males were, especially young men, they just were more interested in getting into fist fights, and they figured out that the women of the time period, they did a wonderful job of keeping everybody connected because they were really good at it, and so they developed that idea. Now, in the next few lessons, we'll be talking about some more inventions, but we'll stop for there. And again, I'm just trying to do short little bits for you, and so get you doing what you need to do for the lesson and continuation. But I hope you enjoyed the first part of this, and we'll start immediately into the next one in the next day or two. All right, guys, bye.